And welcome back. Now, on today's video, we're gonna be discussing a build guide for my Fulcrum Zoomer build, so-called Hinekora Warrior. Right. Now, without further ado, basically, I made this build. It's under 150 divines budget. I'm really happy with the build. It is a fast playstyle. You are more zooming around. You might not be as tanky as the counterpart with the shield, but overall I'm really happy. Really good build. I farmed Scarabs of Risk, doing abysses with it. I farmed Harvest. I farmed Delirium. I killed T17 bosses. Well, Abomination anyway, with this, and well, even now, as you can show, well, as you've seen from the beginning of the video, I even did Alva, and it's really good at doing it. Now, let's get into the pros and cons. Why would you want to play this build? Well, let's start with the pros. First, it's a zoomy playstyle, and that's what I wanted from the build. Second, it is fairly tanky. Third, explosions. But most importantly, a simple and fun one-button build. Yeah, boy! Now the best of all, it's a really cheap build. I know, a bit too many effects. Now, let's just talk about the cons of the build. Not as tanky as the counterpart version, the one with the shield, but it is definitely way faster, and in my opinion, it's just more fun. That's what I liked about the build. No secret here, we cannot use Headhunter. One of the modes of you cannot be stunned can break the build. And the Jack of all trades. Jack of all trades? Wait, there is something wrong here. Ah, you mean the Master of None? Yeah, that makes sense. Well, overall, build is a really good all-rounder, really good on a budget, but unfortunately, it's not extremely good in any kind of area, other than be just, well, cozy playstyle and really easy to start off the ground. But comparing it with other builds that getting into a mirror tier budget, is gonna be overshadowed by them, unfortunately. Now, enough chit chat, and let's get into the build and see the actual items that make this work and what you got to offer. Now, onto the build guide. So, going in depth, what we got. First, we are physical reflect immune. How do I achieve that? Well, very simple actually. Looking at the Fulcrum, you can see the total sum of physical damage converted to whatever element. It's over 100%. That means that we cannot do any physical damage. I only did this because in this setup I am using Bladefall of Volleys, which is doing physical damage, as you can see. So I didn't want it to die by reflect. Now, this would be the first thing. Second thing, we are elemental reflect immune at the moment. We achieve this by this Pantheon, Soul of Yogul, which gives us a 50% reduced reflected damage. And on our flask, we got the same mod. Basically, you could say that, well, we are both physical and elemental reflect immune just because of this though. But this change with the Fulcrum was before I become an elemental reflect immune as well, which is really good. Well, in case you're gonna get a Mage Blood, you can always just change your Pantheon in something better like Soul of Tukohama. Anyway, this is how we get elemental immune. Now, onto the third part. What happens? We are, well, basically, I can say crit immune, but we are not really crit immune. Sorry about that. So what happens is we take 100% reduced extra damage from critical strikes. So we achieve that by firstly, Cloak of Flames, as you can see. Second, what I'm doing, I'm using these 4 tattoos here on the tree for a 20% chance, so 17 total so far, And then, because I got this Thread of Hope here, I am picking up Sanctum of Thought for the last 30%. And that takes us to 100%. Now, if you don't want to go on that Thread of Hope, it's fine. What you do, you go to Armor Mastery, yeah, and on the second slot here you say, it says you take 30% reduced extra damage from critical strike, which solves the issue. Now, what it means that we take 100% reduce extra critical damage, right? So to put it simply, basically, we can still get crit. When we get in crit, we're not actually taking any extra damage, but there is a mode in which, like you can see here, all the mobs get their physical damage converted or as extra cold damage. So what happens in this game, the very weird interaction when they're doing cold damage? So in these situations, whenever they hit you with cold damage, well, they should freeze you, but we are immune to freeze and chill by our boots. And this doesn't happen. But because there is a crit cold damage, it will not stun you. So when it doesn't stun you, obviously, well, simply your immutable force and blood notch, well, they're not working. So 58% of the damage taken from stunning hits is recovered as life. This is not happening because they're not stunning you. How we deal and what we do. In this situation, simply, we are using this rune, Runecraft of Restitching, where it says that 40% of the damage taken from critical strikes gets recouped as life. Now, this doesn't necessarily solve all the issues, but you're not necessarily gonna die. So if it does happen that you roll a map with a lot of critical strike chance and by mistake you pick up, I don't know, Ether Altar, which says that all the mobs damage gets converted to cold. Now, this will help you stay alive and survive. Another choice you could make, very simply, it's for example here, well, there is another note on Stun Mastery, where it says that hits against you cannot be critical strike if you've been stunned recently. Now, I made the choice to go with the character on reduce extra damage from critical strikes because I wanted to save the points. As you can see here, I'm saving, well, like 7 points. This does work good because, well, you cannot be critical strike with the stun recently, but what can happen again if you take in that mode with their physical damage gets converted to cold? It's all fun and fine if you got stunned recently, but remember, they're not gonna stun you. So at some point you could die because none of them is stunning you. In my opinion, this setup with the reduced extra damage from critical strikes, it's way better. Just simply because, well, they're not gonna kill you that easily. You could just take off one of, cast when stun support, maybe kill them with just Firestorm or Blade Volleys. Remember, you only need to get your explosion going once, after that you get the Fulcrum and you kill all of them. So your map wouldn't be fail. Now, I do want to speak about the Timeless Jewel that I'm using. So, what I'm using? I'm using an elegant Hubris, a Timeless Jewel, with Caspiro. It needs to be Caspiro. Why is that? Right. So, it's because of Supreme Ostentation. So we're ignoring attribute requirements and we're not getting any bonus from attributes. That's why we can stack a lot of fire rays, we can choose whatever rings we want. Well, it makes building the build itself really easier. Now, I will do leave a link to the Timeless Jewel calculator in the description. What you really want to look for. Now I got this though here as a 37 chaos resistance, which helps me be chaos res capped. But what you would really want to do if you were, in my case, if I were doing it again, look for one of these chaos res to be here. On these two, that would be normally, I believe, the dexterity and the intelligence node. Because then you don't need to do all of this, well, whole mechanic that I did, which is basically using a jewel. I remember where that jewel was. I'll show it after. So, using a jewel around Avatar of Fire, just so I can just basically pick up this node and this node. This node won't be important later on, because you can basically just swap it up with a basic jewel with 2 maximum fire res. So, yeah, this is definitely what I would do. I would look for one of these 2 mods to be here, or both of them, and it would make everything way easier and you will save some points. But this was a really good budget option for me back then. Alright, this was the jewel. It's the impossible escape with passive in radius of fire of Avatar of Fire can be allocated. Again, really good budget option at the beginning if you want to pick the same jewel. Obviously, if for example, I don't know, let's say you get another timeless jewel, you don't have the 2 chaos res here, but you get them here. Pick up an impossible escape with iron will, pick them 2 up. You get the idea, really straightforward. Or, I don't know, for example, let's say these 2, then you pick up glancing blows. I do believe it's gonna reach it. Yeah, I believe it's gonna reach it, and then you just pick them 2 up. Really easy, self-explanatory. You know what you need to do, guys. Now, on to the last part. We're gonna be looking at the Watcher's Eye. So, you can see I got this Watcher's Eye. The most important mod here is the gain 25 life per enemy hit while affected by vitality. We don't really care about the other mods. It doesn't matter. But at the time when I bought this Watcher's Eye, I looked for the Purity of Fire mod, which says 20% of cold and lightning damage is taken as fire while affected by Purity of Fire. We don't care about that mod simply because what happens is we are already 90% max resistance cap because of the Chieftain, well, ascendancy. It was happening at the beginning that I was not capped, so like I told you earlier, when I would pick up a Ether mod, I would go under 80% whatever max res back then, and I would take a lot of damage. So I just took this to kind of counteract this mod effect. Some could argue as well that that mod is really good because of the implicits you can get on your helm, for example, where it says that 12% of the fire damage taken is recouped as life. So by using that Watcher Eye, we can recoup more life. But again, it's not important because at the moment we're running Ghoul. So we don't really care, that 12% is not a big deal. But definitely don't do that. What I would recommend you to do is, for example, whichever way you're going, this is again a very flexible spot. I definitely recommend you go with gain 25 life per enemy hit while affected by vitality. I think this is the top one, this is very important, a really good recovery. And then whichever other mod you want, you can go with Malevolence, you can go with, well, the haste and have permanent phasing, but that's kinda, I don't know, a dead mod because we already get phasing from our Abyss Jewel. But let's just say you're running maybe a Mage Blood and you don't have space for that Abyss Jewel, then fine, go for that phasing. Let's go for Determination and have, I don't know, less physical damage, physical damage taken. It doesn't matter, guys. It's very flexible spot. Just get 25 life per enemy hit with vitality. Anything else, it's good. It doesn't matter. Now, let's say you go to the point where still your recovery doesn't really feel too good because of the boots. They're just giving too much damage. Well, a little tip for you, which I've been told in another one of my videos, I got the idea from a viewer of mine, which I will just pop a screenshot here of him. He told me about this rune, which basically what it does, it has 20 reduced bonuses gained from equipped boots, and you get 20 increased bonuses gained from equipped gloves. It's not that we have something unbelievably strong on our gloves that we really care about. No, It's just about we mitigating the damage from the boots. Which 20% is a lot, so it would be 1200 fire damage per second. We're looking at 4800 now that we would only take. It is really good. I mean, it is good when you are not really max fire capped yet, when you don't have that much recovery yet. It does help out. It is worth it in some instances. Now at the moment I don't really have a problem with having these boots on, so I'm keeping it. Another runes that I'm using is, well, the increased reservation one and auras from your skill, which affect allies also affect enemies. Don't really have an aura which is really important. Well, maybe the purity of fire. I do give them more fire resistance, which that's a bit annoying, but it doesn't matter, because once we got an explosion going, we are just basically one-shotting them. The petrify bot doesn't really matter on the mobs. And well, malevolence, but again, not a big deal. And I only have where is it? Here, a level 1 vitality, which again, 10 life per second for mobs. It don't matter. It's really fine. Now, I'm using the Runecraft of the Runecraft of the Warp story. So I'm just using this one because I'm actively farming Alva now, or I was anyway. And it's really good. It makes well, Alva last long. Sorry, not Alva. It makes the shrines last longer, so we can farm well, which is well, it's exactly what we want from this far. Now onto this one. We already discussed about it. I'm using this well, Runecraft because of the critical strikes, and I recoup more life from that, which is a really good mechanic. On the last one, the gain 1 soul, Val soul per second. This is really good and interesting because almost, don't count me on that, almost permanently we do have Val Breach on. We do need to kill some mobs in between, but what I'm trying to say, let's say if I'm gonna go into an incursion and I'm gonna kill all the mobs in there, by the time I get to my other incursion, my explode might run off, my ignite. So what I do just before going in, I will just pop the Val Breach, kill some mobs, see the explosion happening once, and go in the incursion. Now, I found better results with the gain 1 Val soul per second and make it more comfortable making it more of a comfortable play style and everything because of that Runecraft alone. Right, let's discuss the Defiance of Destiny. This is gonna be our amulet. Well, obviously, like every cast when stand build, this is basically the best in slot amulet. Why is that? Because of the mode with gain 20% of missing unreserved life before being hit by an enemy. This is a really good mod. It turns your build from dying a lot to rarely dying. It's really good. Try to get as high as possible missing unreserved life mod as you can. The best in slot would be 20%, then you're gonna use Catalyst of Life and you're gonna get it to 24%. I got the 17% one. What I did, I got 20% on it. Well, it is what it is. It's still okay. Don't let yourself be put down. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's something that you can work on. Well, start with a lower roll mod and work your way towards a perfect one. Now onto the anoint. I'm using Lasting Tempest. Now this is a 50% increased duration of elemental ailments on enemies. Again, this is just because of our ignite. So, because we basically stacking so much duration of elemental ailments, either if it's on us, on enemies, on whatever, it doesn't really matter, because with the help of Fulcrum, whenever the elemental ailment, in our case, ignite happens, it gets reflected back on us, and this is what we want. To have, well, basically the ignite reflected from the explosions on us as much as we can. On to the next part. Let's speak about the belt. I just Crafted this belt myself, really easy to do. I don't know, when I looked on trade, it costed like 50 divines to make this, to buy this belt just off trade straight away. It's not worth it. Don't pay 50 divines. Definitely not. Just if you want more in-depth guides how to craft them and everything, just simply go on my Zero to Hero playlist. I'll leave it in the description, and you can see how I crafted most of this stuff as well, because I started this build from scratch. Anyway, onto the belt. What do we want on the belt? What I was aiming for, it was basically maximum life, increased maximum life from the hunter mode, regenerate life, fire resist. Right. Now, onto the last mode, it could have been increased life recovery. And it would have been just best in slot, but unfortunately we didn't get that. We got increased flask life recovery rate. And this is not what we want. We just want life recovery rate, which would have been way better. Nice. Now, let's go on to the gloves. So, the gloves. Just, well, very basic. Fire, chaos res, regenerate life, maximum life. It's nothing really, well, out of the ordinary. What happens is the crafted prefix. Is it prefix? I'm just gonna double check. Yeah, it's the prefix. Good. Right, so they increase the damage while leeching. So as you can see on the implicit, on the Ether and Exarch mode, what we do is 0.6% of fire damage leached as life. Now, this is a high mode now, because I used the Orb of Dominance on it. Was it Orb of Conflict? I can't remember. The one where you keep increasing basically the tire of, well, whatever soul you're using. So you can do that later on. But I only started with like 0.2%. You can start with the 0.2%, you know, when using the lesser currency basically on it. And once you got that, all your fire damage is gonna leech as life. What happens then? You are leeching. So when you are leeching, you can just put this mod, you can craft it, the prefix, increase damage while leeching, which is a big mod. It's a big damage multiplier. It's totally worth it. Now onto the second one. Ignites you inflict spread to other enemies within 1.5 meters. Really important mod. This is basically Ignite Prolif. We're doing it on the gloves, so we don't have to, well, sacrifice a medium cluster jewel if you want in order to do it. We don't need that. 1.5 is enough. And it does help our clear a lot. I can't describe it, it's just a lot. Now, looking into our flask first, just to get this out the way. What I started with, till I got the 1.5% on the gloves, obviously. I was using this flask, which is really good. It gives us onslaught. Ignites that you're inflicting, well, they are spread, so it gives us Ignite Prolif on 1.5%. Enemies ignited by you during the effect takes 7 increased damage. Really good mod, big multiplier, and we recover 2% of life when we kill an enemy during the effect. It's really good because we recover life when we kill. So this is very good for our recovery and sustain overall. This flask costed me 20 chaos or 40 chaos when I started. It's extremely good. It's very overlooked. I totally recommend it. Even now I'm not swapping it, even though I already got Ignite Prolif. And by the way, they are not stacking with each other. So this 1.5% with 1.5% from the gloves is not making it a 3%. No, there is only one Ignite Prolif you can have at a time. So it doesn't matter which one, just only have one. Now, for example, what I would, well, suggest for you to do, it's till you get your build going, as you can see. Ignites you inflict spread to other enemies. It's a exceptional, well, modifier from Searing Exarch, and that costs a lot of chaos. I think just the grand one cost you about 20 chaos. Maybe this one would cost you a good 100, or you're gonna need to use a few orbs of conflict in order to increase it to exceptional. It's not worth it. Not at the beginning. You can very easily solve that by, I don't know, rolling fire damage over time on globes. Very simply just use this flask. Really good, plus onslaught, plus you get speed, movement speed. Like you see, Onslaught grants you 20 increased attack, cast, and movement speed. Really good. Right, let's go into the next part. What is this? So, like we spec, on the Granite Flask I just run the reduce reflect damage. Now, onto the Ruby Flask of Craft. You do have two choices. You have the regenerate 3% of life per second. I am using the regenerate 3% of life per second just because of the boots. I do want more regeneration. It's leached as life during effect. This is a really good mod as well, because you are leeching now with the mods from the gloves and everything, and it's maybe better than the regenerate. It's just that I need the regenerate. I want to have the regenerate just to combat the damage from the boots. Now I'm only using a Sapphire Flask here just because my resistance at the time of cold was kinda low. So now you can see I have 143. Then you're gonna go do Ether and you're gonna pick a mod which is gonna decrease your resistances, for example by 40% or 50% or whatever. At the moment in time when I chose Sapphire Flask, I think I had only 100% resistances, and that's why I used it, just so I can be capped on the cold resistance. Because it was happening something weird, like I would have 50% cold resistance and then I would die to cold, so it was not worth it. You can use whichever flask you want. You can use a Amethyst Flask in case you are not Chaos Res capped. It doesn't matter, it's up to you. You can use a Sulfur Flask for more damage. Up to you. That's the secondary mode. The suffix is important, the immune to bleeding. Now on to the last one. Well, we got the Quicksilver Flask. Now, I do run it with 58% reduced effect of curses on you, but it doesn't really matter because we have a lot of reduced effect of curses. Like, this is really just an overlook by me. You can add any other suffix mod here. You could run movement speed. You could run, well, another death mode, which is this one with leech. 15% damage taken from its leech as life during effect. You could run immunity to shock. It would be a really good one. You have many choices to run, so don't do it like me. Don't run 58% reduced effect of curses. You already have a lot of reduced effect. 30% from here, and then you can get a lot on the jewels, plus the tattoos. Right, now on the ghoul part, well, I'm just using the ghoul just because I've been farming Alva. Now, it doesn't need to be that. This is my normal helmet I was using. This is how it looks. This is honestly the best you can get. I mean, these are all the best mods anyway. So maximum life, I don't care about rarity. It's nice if you want, if not, it doesn't matter. We don't care about rarity. The prefix with level of socketed AoE gems and 10% increase area of effect. Good mod. Now we got cold resistance. It could be in chaos. It doesn't matter. It depends on you what kind of resistance you need. Now for me it was cold at the time, but again, now this is not the case anymore. Increase life regeneration rate. This is, well, basically the best mod that you want, especially this is the T1. This really makes our recovery go really high. Now you can see I have 925, 1100. A lot of recovery just from that. Well, my buffs just got deactivated. But yeah, well, you kind of get the idea. Overall, I don't know what to tell you. We do have a lot of movement speed. We do reach about 120, I want to say, when we are buffed, because we are using phase run as well. Well, really good build overall. To be honest, don't be scared regarding the armor. It doesn't matter, because I'm using the mercenary, which gives me determination, for example. Now, let's look at the rings. Firstly, I will look at the Hateful Accuser. Why is this ring extremely good? Right, So firstly, just looking at implicits, it gives us a 50% increased elemental ailment duration on you. This is really important, because an elemental ailment is ignite, for example. So this makes us scale our ignite to almost 12 seconds. So whenever we explode and the ignite gets reflected on us, we have a 12-second window in which the ignite is still on us reflected. And with that, we get the chance to go and explode we go and explode other monsters in order to refresh the ignite. Right. Now, the other important stuff and the other good mods, well, obviously the 50% reduced effect of curses on you. Well, it is good. Why not? The increased cut speed, we don't really care. Maximum life, it's okay. And we do get as well chaos resistance, which is good. We want chaos resistance. Now on the Grant's level 20 penance mark. This is actually really important. As you can see, this is penance mark. So whenever we curse an enemy, what happens? They are gonna spawn 3 shackled phantasms when hit. So the interaction works like this. We curse them. The boss or whoever you're fighting, the rare monster, is gonna hit you. When it hits you, cast when stun happens. When that happens, you're gonna hit them a lot. Because hits are like blade for volleys. Well, you got 7 volleys coming down. Firestorm of pelting. There it is. 12 firestorms at a time. Flame surge. You get the idea. You're just gonna hit him a lot. So it's just gonna keep spawning phantasms when hit. You're gonna kill the phantasms and they can explode. Once they explode, they can either get transferred onto the boss or the monster that you're fighting. I don't know, I'm just saying the boss now. Or, anyway, even if it doesn't get transferred, because let's say they are too far away, it's not an issue. You got the ignite reflected back on you. Now you have a lot of damage. You can just go, give the monster a nice little hug, and you're gonna kill him. Right. Onto the other ring. So, in order to make our cast when stunned setup, this is really important. So, the Moonstone ring, what it does, it basically turns all our stun threshold, it's based on energy shield instead of life. This is the build enabling unique that is making us get stunned all the time and be able to run a cast when stunned setup. Now onto implicits, you can either get the cannot be poisoned one, or you can get another one which says bleeding cannot be inflicted on you. Both rings are okay. What you do in this situation, it doesn't matter which one you take, just take the cheaper one, whatever. And on the other one, so for example, let's say I have cannot be poisoned, yeah? So what I got on this flask is I'm immune to bleeding and corrupted blood. Now this setup is slightly better than the counterpart, and why is that? On one flask, what I'm getting both immunity to bleeding, and I'm getting I'm getting as well corrupted blood. So immunity to bleeding and corrupted blood. I don't need to buy a very expensive, I don't know, jewel which has immunity to corrupted blood. You could, but at some point you're gonna have enough money and then you can just put it on, I don't know, blood notch or whatever, so it doesn't matter. Or maybe you already have a jewel like this, or it doesn't matter. The thing is, this works better because I'm getting 2 important modes, which is bleeding and corrupted blood, during the effect on one flask. And most of the time we're keeping our flask activated. And there is the cannot be poisoned, but on another counterpart, you could always have bleeding cannot be inflicted on you, and just run a flask mode with immunity to poison during the effect. It would be just as good, just as strong. Now, let's discuss the boots. So we are using the Annihilations approach. They are a really good pair of boots. We take a lot of fire damage. We do gain adrenaline, which adrenaline basically gives us, as you can see here, 25% increased attack, cast and movement speed, 10% additional physical damage reduction. Now, adrenaline itself is a really good buff. Normally, Other people are getting it by, well, using Death Rush, I think it's called the ring, where it says the same, but our ring slots are occupied, so we cannot sacrifice a ring slot. But this is really good on the boots. So firstly, these boots are, well, solving a lot of our issues. They're solving our cannot be chilled, they're solving our cannot be frozen. They're giving us a 30% increased movement speed. The only problem with them is it makes us take 6000 fire damage per second. Right. So how do we mitigate that? We mitigate that by having, well, life regeneration, by having high resistances. And it keeps our life okay. Just remember, in maps in which you are struggling and you're taking a lot of damage, it's totally fine for you to just deactivate the boots. Even if you deactivate them, you are still cannot be chilled and cannot be frozen. I'm saying the kind of maps where, for example, you cannot regen. If you want to do that mod, you could do it, yeah. Just deactivate your boots, turn off the aura. It's just that simple. It's an aura here, it's called Approaching Flames. You just turn it off. Now, what these boots help us achieve as well, it's on our tree, we're using this medium cluster jewel, which is called, sorry, the mod with the Wrapped in Flame and Secret in Oblivion. So we care about Wrapped in Flame. So this keystone is basically increasing our fire damage by 20%. We cannot be chilled while burning, but we don't care that because we already got, well, that on the boots, so we cannot be chilled ever. And we have 5% chance to cover enemies in ash on hit while you are burning. So that's very important, while you are burning. What does it mean that we are burning? So normally, how we achieve that is you are using Righteous Fire. But I didn't want to use Righteous Fire in this build. Plus, I have, well, all my gem slots are basically occupied, so I didn't want to use Righteous Fire. Now, with the help of these boots, we are burning. Remember, we are flame touched. And because we are burning, we're getting the Wrapped in Flame, which is a big damage boost. Now, this is all about this boost. Now, let's look into some choices. Hi. As you can see, I'm using Malevolence. You don't have to use Malevolence. It doesn't matter which one you use. You can use Haste. The Malevolence one is just more like a feeling our aura. I was using Haste before. You could go for Determination if you want. Honestly, it doesn't matter. Just choose whichever you like. Now, why does it matter in this season and why is it different? It's because we have, well, we do have mercenaries. So this is the mercenary I'm using at the moment. Nothing impressive at all. The only very important things I would advise you to use in any mercenary you have, it would be this amulet, Shaper Seed, because of the regenerate 4% life per second. Really good amulet. And the Calm's Binding, obviously. Nearby enemies convert 25 of their physical damage to fire. Really good, big defense for us. I just chose this Merc because of the Infernal Cry, which makes me sometimes explode. Well, I'm exploding the enemies, and it's just really good. Because you can see whenever they get debuff to explode when they die, dealing fire damage in an area. It gets triggered with percentages, if I remember right, so it's really good. Plus it got increased AoE. Now onto the other one, it got Determination. This is the Merc you can use with basically Kingmaker. If you would make a Merc with Kingmaker and, well, you know, the basic rarity setup, you wouldn't need to use Cooling Strike supports on your, well, on your armor anymore. But at the moment, I don't want to invest into this Merc. It's not worth it, or I don't like it. Plus, I find him annoying. A lot of the times he's just knocking back my monsters and I want them clamped together, but he's just knocking them back, splitting them apart. This is the annoying part about this Merc. Now to the other Merc. This would be kinda my best choice. It would be Determination with Intimidating Cry. We don't really care about the rest. Why is this Merc okay? Why is this Merc good? Right. As you can see here on the screen, I'm showing you this shield. So what mode we want from that shield is the fact that you get a chance, he gets a chance to grant a frenzy charge to nearby allies, which is us, on hit, and he will hit. Once we get the frenzy charge, again, what happens is basically looking again at phase run. So whenever we consume a charge or frenzy charge, you can see the one that increase skill duration per frenzy charge remove. So it increases our duration. It can basically make us be permanently in phase run, which is a big speed boost for us. If I would have went with that setup, I would have changed the more duration into enhance, definitely, to have even more speed. That's what we want. These were two choices. Another good choice would be, for example, well, the KB mercenary, which gives you the haste aura as well. Really good. Now, that is your choice, whichever mercenary you want. I think it's again well, really comfortable spot for you to swap about and just check whichever is up to your playstyle and you like more, and that's it, just pick that one. Now, just a little tip I have for you. Whenever you're fighting the monsters, what happens is if you can't get your explosions going, this is really big, you want to use the penance mark in order to get them started. But onto this setup, I am using punishment as well. So what happens? This is the curse, and well, penance mark is basically a curse as well. We do not have, well, we are not able to use two curses at the same time. So penance mark is only really being used when you want to get your explosions going, where you are unbuffed, when you can't really do much. The interaction, because of cast when stunned, what happens? Your penance mark is gonna get cancelled out by punishment. What I would do in that situation, because anyway, you are fairly tanky, remember, just remove punishment, get the explosion going, put the punishment back in. This is like, I don't know, this is a really big tip for you guys. Well, this definitely was a way longer video than I first expected to. And, well, hopefully, I hope I just answer all the questions in regards to the build in this video. I really went in depth, step by step. I don't know if this is a good format. If not, maybe you guys can let me know in the comments below how a build guide should look like in the future. Maybe you want it shorter, just straight to the point. Well, anyway, without further ado, what I prepared for you, I prepared a special gameplay in a map with me, where I am getting Willwood Wisps, and I'm picking up a mod, which is removing all my armor. And on top of that, I'm not using endurance charges in this map. And you can see how the build performs with all of these things are happening. Don't forget, it's a tier 16.5 map, fairly just, and we got Delirium on top as well. And it's an Alva map. I will really suggest you watch the video and just see for yourself if you like what the build can offer or not. Anyway, this is it for me today on today's video. Thank you very much for watching. And don't forget, if you enjoyed, you found something nice, just please leave a like, a share, or a subscribe. Right, see you next time and enjoy your gameplay.
Yeah. Sometimes I get so mad, there's no controlling me. My thoughts get so bad, I'm like, I might grab a bat, I don't know. My wrath, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll play it on your face to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy. overdue. Come at me and you won't get any older, dude. Crack your holder too. Heating up inside of me, blood so violently. Thanks for trying me. Now it's finally time to see how this rivalry becomes a dynasty.